good evening, viewers. We have Suresh Kochattil with us. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Jaydev also joins us. Welcome, Jaydev.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, sir, there's a sudden development, which is, I don't know, it's whether it's shocking or whether it was meant to happen. Now, the top Jaish terrorist Abdul Aziz was found dead in Pakistan under mysterious circumstances. Unknown men are back, and he was a fierce proponent of the Ghazwe Hind. They claim that Abdul suffered a sudden heart attack. However, there was no official word on the cause of death from the Pakistani police officers.
Correct. Oh, the question is the unknown men are back again, as you said. The question is very simple. If you observe what is happening in Pakistan in the last 3 weeks, to be precise, post Sindhu, uh, the generals are spending more time outside Pakistan than in Pakistan. We saw Asim Munir going for a 5-day holiday in US, and he just dropped in at the White House for a lunch, which he should be really thankful of because you don't get that kind of lunch in Pakistan. And I believe it was a total halal lunch,
Okay.
which is kind of a very unique thing for Pakistan because to get a halal lunch is in US. That too, the White House is something
Yeah.
he should be thankful for. I'm sure that he'll keep that lunch for a long time because. But the main jokes apart, actually, the main thing that we need to realize with these guys is that what are they doing? What are they trying to do? And that is where the entire thing boils down. What is Pakistan up to? Remember what happened to Iran and what's happening to Iran, rather. Now that there is a so called ceasefire that is there in place, nothing much will happen for the next 2 to 3 weeks till Iran gathers all its kind of remnants or whatever is left out and sees what damage has been done to their nuclear assets. Trump will kind of keep applying for more of Nobel Peace Prize from other countries, including maybe he'll get Sudan also, and then he'll get Syria also. Everybody to
Yeah.
pitch in and say, "Give me a Nobel Prize," because that is what he's aiming at. He's very clear about
Yeah.
it. But the Pakistanis are now kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because what they saw happening with Iran is a sense of worry for them right now, Meena, because Iran has actually left a kind of a situation which across the Islamic world, I mean, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, and all are acting as if everything is normal. It is not normal because whatever said and done that Iran fired a missile into Qatar after giving them the exact coordinates, the time, the number of missiles, everything, and that they would be hitting only the US base. Symbolic as it might be, and it looks like a fixed match, but fixed match aside, what has happened is that Iran has shown that it can hit another Islamic country apart from the usual Israel that it keeps hitting. And this is a big worry for Saudi Arabia because if you see, Saudi Arabia and the Islamic states all had got together and condemned Israel's bombing. Even they condemned America's B 2 bombing on the nuclear sites. But beyond that, everybody is questioning what was discussed at the lunch between President Trump and Asim Munir. Remember, after at that point in time, President Trump had given 2 weeks' time to, to Iran to kind of comply with the nuclear deal. But he then jumped the gun and within 3 days he went and bombed Iran. Why? That's a question. Was it a decoy? Because Iran would have thought we have 2 weeks so we will kind of relax. But if you remember, what they did at Fordo, they bought about 200 trucks and carried away a lot of stuff from there. Now, you can't carry uranium in a truck, it doesn't work that way. So, obviously, they carried something beyond that from there. Or did they bring more kind of rocks and mud and did they throw it at the entrance of the tunnel, which is where US was supposed to hit, or rather claim to have hit? Now that would have been a kind of a buffer, even though it might be a bunker buster for all you know, that could have reduced the impact. So US basically gave Iran enough time to prepare for any eventuality. That is something that the Israelis hadn't given. They first finished off the top line leadership of the entire Iranian army,
Irani.
and then they went after the assets one by one. Okay.
Okay. Oh, please go ahead.
So what happened in with with Israel was they never gave the element of, doubt to Iran to prepare for. They just went after them in this 12-day so-called war with Iran. They literally decimated the leadership first, which was a classic Mossad operation. Then they went after the nuclear assets. Then they went after the ballistic assets, and they finished off everybody. Now the question is, what will US do after that? Then Iran was skeptical whether US would get their bunker busters and the B-2s and bomb them. And US did it. I mean, that is what US did. But the point is, just like what happened with India and Pakistan, why did Trump jump in again and demand that the entire thing be called off? Without even evaluating, without asking Israel and Iran if they agree to a ceasefire. He just decided for himself. And finally, of course, he ended up using the F word just before getting into the Marine One. That shows that Trump is literally on the edge. Literally on the edge. If you see his body language, he's not able to convince a lot of people. See, at the end of the day, Meena, and Jaydev, this entire thing, remember that Iran keeps chanting death to America and death to Israel on a daily basis. That has not stopped. Iran can still resume its nuclear production at a facility, which it can recover after a few weeks and it will start all over again. Will Trump then go with his B-2 bombers again and bomb them? No, it will not happen. Now, this is the issue that we have on hand, is the fact that President Trump seems to have either got into the war or either got into this mess, then realized that it is a bigger mess because his approval ratings at home have taken a nosedive, both for the economy and intervention in Iran. And the Democrats are baying for his blood, calling for his impeachment and whatnot. So President Trump has now gone to NATO summit. He will, of course, have a good time there, take pictures, and ask a couple of them also to recommend him for the Nobel Prize. And that's the end of it. I mean, but back home, what's happened is Iran is where Iran is, except for damage that Israel did. US technically did nothing, because if you give enemy enough time to prepare and say, I'm going to bomb your nuclear assets, I'm going to bomb your nuclear assets, and keep saying it, the enemy is not going to sit there quietly and say, oh, yeah, come, please bomb us. They're going to move everything out from there. And we don't know what was moved because we're only looking at the daytime images of the trucks lined up outside the Fordo nuclear base. Even at Natanz, I believe the assets that were damaged were only at the top. The one in the under the mountain still stays, I believe, as it is. Then we have Isfahan, which was bombed. Then we have the Tehran University, where a lot of research was being done into fissile material and uranium related work. There are smaller sites that were also hit. But remember one thing, that whatever said and done, Iran has around 60% purity uranium with them. They would have even gone to 70 for all you know. And once they hit 90, they are good to make at least 10 bombs with the material they have with them. IAEA has not gone anywhere near those sites in the last 2 months. So we don't know what level of purity the Iranians are operating at. The entire thing basically is now a kind of, at least the India Pakistan war had a closure, proper closure. But there's no guarantee that Hezbollah or Hamas or even the Houthis will tomorrow start firing missiles at Israel. In that case, what would Trump explain? Is that the violation of ceasefire, or he'll say that is, I have not factored those three parties into it, so I have only got Iran to sign up for the ceasefire. And that's exactly what will happen now. The attacks in Gaza, if you see, I mean, most of us have taken our eyes off Gaza. On a daily basis, Israel is losing around 3 to 4 soldiers in Gaza. And I keep posting their images from the IDF handles. I mean, that war is not over yet. I mean, that's technically not even a war. That's something like a Vietnam for Israel. And that is where the problem is arising, because Hezbollah is dead and gone. Yes, they finished them off methodically because Hezbollah was an organized army. Hamas is not an organized army, they are a terror group. On the other hand, Houthis are neither here nor there. And their area of expertise will be only in shooting at the ships that go past their Yemenis coast. So, all in all, what's happened today is that, the death in Pakistan of this gentleman, a terrorist whom I call gentlemen because they are all claimed to be gentlemen, and they were shot dead one after another. That is going on. Taliban is doing it, or somebody else is doing it. Yes, according to the Pakistanis, India has given supari to the Taliban to finish up all these characters, because now Taliban has nothing to do, technically speaking. Whom do they shoot at? The Soviets have gone. The NATO has fled from there. The US has also fled with NATO forces. Nothing much to do now. So the Taliban is looking for action because they're getting a lot of support from India in by way of building their infrastructure. That is work that is happening. Plus, for all you know, India might even get a toehold in the Bagaram Air Force Base. I mean, if that comes, nothing like it, because that's very close to China, and we can have a listening post, and US would be happy to join us there.
Yeah. So, Sureshi, I'm a little confused about Donald Trump because, see, when he came in the beginning, he came as a very strong, tall leader, who was, planning to take revenge on a lot of people, a lot of establishments. Now, I don't know because see, with AI in the picture, we really don't know which video is right or which picture is right. So suddenly we are seeing a shadow of Trump in the front, and he keeps asking me, people for a prize, just like little children. And the second thing is, he seems scared of someone. And as you mentioned, his body language is completely changed. When he emerges from a plane, it's like he's like a shadow of the Trump that he was. So there is someone who's behind him. Any way you can explain that to us, Sureshji?
See, at the end of the day, US politics is all about 4 years. He's already completed, what, about 3 to 4 months of that. His deals are not working out. Remember, his ceasefire announcements are like his deal announcements. I've done and dusted with China. I've got them. Xi Jinping is going to sit at my doorstep tomorrow morning and beg me to sign the deal. And then he says, "Oh, we are close to signing a deal with India. We are done with UK. Canada is in our bag." These are grandiose announcements. But what has happened, Meena, if you know the US market, to set up a supply chain system for the US car makers and others, including retailers, okay, it's going to be a huge challenge. You cannot switch an overnight supply chain into the US and say we will make everything here. Two things will happen. One, the products will become expensive because American wage is very high, where the plumber costs more than the tap he's come to fix. And second, the Americans are need to wait for a long time, because if that is the case, coming through China and still pay the tariff, they will still end up paying more because the manufacturers will pass on the cost to the consumer. Either ways, they are damned. They do or they don't. So the American consumer is now heating up. So be it Target, or be it basic. You look at anybody. All the major car companies are in a big fix. They don't know what to do. Uh, the American retailers are screaming. They're saying the costs have gone up, the inflation has gone up. The stock market is doing very well today because one, the technically the Strait of Hormuz is not going to close for now, so the oil prices have come down. But that is not the thing. The challenge for America is George Bush to Bill Clinton to Barack Obama to Biden. Everybody had promised to make America great again. What is America great again all about? It is basically bringing back steel manufacturing, bringing back car manufacturing, bringing back electronics manufacturing, and many other items. But remember, the other day, about 3 weeks ago, Trump made a statement saying we are not interested in making vests and T-shirts in the US. It's not a priority for me, because he knows that the cost of doing that in the US will be very expensive. So what Trump is today is facing is the double heat. One, from his own party, he's not sure whether he will have support for the key bills that will go through. The ICE movement in terms of deporting people is also not really it's picked up steam, but the question many people are asking is what happens to the strawberries lying in the fields? Who will pick them up? The Mexicans used to do it, of course, illegally. They used to come there, work illegally, and paid a pittance of what would be paid to the American workers, and that is what it is. But now they are also going off. The Mexicans are going off. So the entire on your dinner table, there are no more strawberries, and there are no more vegetables that are coming in. Anything that is coming in is coming at a higher price. So there is a element of inflation which really doesn't show up on the charts, but is showing up on the dining table. And that is Trump is extremely worried about it. He didn't factor all this. See, Mina and Jaydev, we look at it in isolation. These are all different dots which you need to connect. There is a nice operation against migrants. There are students whom you are trying to drive out. There are academic institutions whom you are going against, and I'm all for it. Anybody does anything illegal in the US, a visa is not a matter of right. It's a matter of choice for the US government to give it to you or not give it to you. You can't have a woke culture. You can't be talking about LGBT out there and then diversity and all that nonsense. That's been going on for far too long. We saw the other day what happened in the UK when two Palestinian guys, I mean, rather, as support from the group that support Palestine, got into one of their major Air Force bases and spray painted two of the aircraft. They believe they also used a crowbar to damage the engines of one of the aircraft. Now the question is, when you keep encouraging such culture, naturally, end of the day, you will get the Basmasur effect on you. That's exactly what's happening in UK. But on the US side, it's all about economy. As they say, it's all about economy. You stupid. That's what it is. Trump is not able to bring in manufacturing big time back to US. The maximum he's got Nvidia and others to make chips. He's got Hyundai to come and make cars in the US. But they all realize one thing, that they will make it, but the cost will be higher. And will the American consumer pay for that higher cost? Because that will show up in the voting 3 years from now, or even the midterm polls that will come up in a year and a half. And that is where Trump is going to be having his music. And he's not extremely popular. Other day we had this, I forget, the South African president there in the White House and sitting in the Oval Room and saying, and I really liked that dialogue. He said, "Well, I don't have an aircraft to give you." So that is a kind of showing him the mirror for having accepted a huge Boeing from the Qataris, which is technically a bribe, and that is where the problem is coming in. So the issue is simple. Trump is frustrated now. He's doing a good job. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's trying to do a good job, but he's at the wrong end of the stick. He wants to make US great again. He cannot do it in a piecemeal basis. He cannot pick and choose and say, I will bring back steel, I'll bring back Nvidia, I'll bring back, Hyundai, I'll bring back all the companies that are in China. Ask Apple not to make phones in India. Come on. I mean, Apple doesn't make phones in India for selling in the US. They might be doing it for, but there's a bigger market outside US. Even if within India, there's a bigger market. So why will they do it? They would rather make it in Sri Perumbudur than make it in the US. And that's exactly what it is. But then you can't dictate to a corporate world today and say, I want to, because their shareholders are the ones who would rebel against it.
Yeah.
They will dump the stocks and the company will be dead in no time. Today, the world is single market, and we need to understand this. And Trump doesn't seem to, because for him, signing those executive bills, sitting at his desk in the Oval Room, is not what it is. There's a real world outside is totally different.
Yeah. Back to you, Jade.
Yeah, Sonia Gandhi seems to be not keeping well, and there are questions that Rahul Gandhi went on a mysterious foreign trip. Now, the Congress party has come out and said that Rahul Gandhi went to London to attend the graduation ceremony of his niece, Miria Vadra, who is Priyanka Gandhi's daughter. So, what is this? Every time when he goes outside, some calamity happens in India. If you've seen in the history.
Well, there are two ways I look at this. One is good he's not here in India, because otherwise we have to listen to his stupid dialogues. But then if he goes there and starts the same dialogues at Oxford or Cambridge, then again it becomes a major issue. I think all of us are giving too much importance to Rahul Gandhi. No, it's like we are making him viral. Why should you? Let him go wherever he wants to go, because end of the day he says stupid things, he does stupid things, goes to the courts, apologizes, then starts all over again. We've seen the recent instances, Jaydev, where a lot of his dialogues, typically started with Savarkar, then went to Modi and Sare Modi chor hai. Then he said, "So I'm not a Savarkar, I'm a Gandhi." And then he goes on about the backward classes, about why judiciary doesn't have backward classes, why media doesn't have backward, why anchors are not from the BC community or SC/ST community. He doesn't turn around and ask within his Congress working committee, How many Dalits are there in the Congress Working Committee? Why the Congress leader of opposition is Rahul Gandhi and not a Dalit? The question needs to be asked. The problem with Rahul Gandhi is every time he goes abroad, actually, he doesn't even inform the security. I mean, he's not with SPG. He doesn't have an SPG coverage anymore. He has a CRPF related coverage. But even that, you need to inform them where you're going. It is not that the government of India doesn't know where you are. They all know where you're going. But the point is very simple: is that when you have a risk, and that is where the entire risk comes in, because if something happens abroad, then who is responsible for it? And that is where the entire problem arises. If somebody attacks him in London, for example, and that might be a staged attack just to get sympathy for the Bihar elections or whatever it is, the entire blame will fall on Modi, because then say Modi didn't give security. It's not that Starmer needs to give security when he is in the UK, but it doesn't inform anybody. This is not done. Even a chief minister of a state, when he goes abroad on an official visit, he has to take permission. He has to take permission from the government of India before going there, be it a BJP ruled state or be it a Congress ruled state. Now, with Rahul Gandhi, that's a problem. As you rightly said, he goes abroad. Does he meet Soros and his allies? We're not sure. Whom is he meeting? But I'm with Ajit Dovalji around. Naturally, every moment of his, whatever he does in London or New York or Timbuktu, will all be known. It is not that they don't know it, they know what he's doing out there. So the point is, with Rahul Gandhi going abroad, a calamity coming to India, I'm thankful that you know he just keeps staying in India in that case, because then the calamities won't come. But the problem is every day when you see his Twitter, when you see Pawan Khera, when you see Jairam Ramesh, when you see Supriya Shirante, I mean, these people are trying to be more loyal than the king. They kind of abuse Modi ji every day morning. They put up nonsense there. They criticize Trump one day. Then they said Sonia Gandhi writes an op-ed. Why are all the op-eds coming only in Indian Express? I have a very strong suspicion. This is the same newspaper which stood up against Indira Gandhi during the emergency with a tall, tall leader like Ramnath Goenka. Today, of course, we know the state of Indian Express. In Hyderabad, I don't even know whether they have an edition. The joke is that the machine is switched on and switched off in about
Yeah.
2 minutes, and that's a print run for the entire Indian Express. I mean, why is it that they don't write in any other newspaper and only write in Indian Express? And you believe that Sonia Gandhi can write such a huge piece? Obviously, these are ghost written stuff. These are nonsense. Absolutely. Pawan Khera. Who reads this kind
she
of
she can't
garbage?
she can't even read her own speech.
In fact, I tweeted that, and Pawan Khera posted that, said, can she write a sentence in English, grammatically correct? That it's not possible. These people think that people, if you write a newspaper article, you sound like an intellectual.
Yeah.
You are projected like an intellectual. Rahul Gandhi writing. Look at the accusations against the election commission. Each time that he comes up, election commission gives him a reply. Then he goes on. He shifts the goalpost and goes to something new. I mean, winning elections in Telangana, there was no issue. Here also, there was a substantial spike in the number of voters in the old city of Hyderabad and even in the other parts of Hyderabad city. Why didn't Rahul Gandhi protest against all that? His party won a number of seats here. His government was formed after the elections here. So that means there is the election in Telangana compromised. Why only Maharashtra? Because the funny part is neither Sharad Pawar nor Uddhav Thackeray is speaking a word about it. They were also impacted, isn't it? Was it only Congress which lost the election? That their alliance lost the election. Sharad Pawar doesn't say a word. Uddhav Thackeray doesn't say a word, but only Rahul Gandhi has got a problem with the Election Commission of India. The same Election Commission of India, which his grandmother and his father had literally decimated, got their chamchas into it. One of them became even a minister after he finished his tenure with the Election Commission, MS Gill. We all know that. So he's talking as if the only thing that was there was sacrosanct with the election commission during the heydays of the Congress, and now Modi has compromised and all that. I feel the election commission is too soft with him. They
Yes.
should take him to court.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They should take him to court, file a dozen FIRs against him for unfair accusations. Let him prove it in the court of law. That time you'll see him chickening out. He will again say, my apologies, and then he'll walk out again from there. This is what the election commission need not reply to every dog that barks on the road. We need to. They have the job to do, and they've done it well. We have no issues. If Rahul Gandhi has an issue, let him go to the Supreme Court or let him go to the High Court and challenge it. Challenge the Maharashtra elections. I challenge him to do it. He cannot. because nothing. It is just a garbage that he keeps throwing. He talks something. He talks. I mean, these are all not even written by him. These are all by his chamchas. We all know that. Sunil Kanagolu and all these guys are doing this job. It is not him. He again, Rahul Gandhi is a kind of guy who had to copy an obituary from a mobile phone. We saw that video quite some time ago. Do you think he can write article? Do you think he can write such questions? Every press conference of his is staged. Everything, including the reporters who will ask question, which reporter will ask which question. These are all stage stuff. And then he says Modi does not hold any press conference. Modi doesn't need. He has Man Ki Baat. He will speak through that. He'll address the audiences directly. That's a problem. And every shot of Rahul Gandhi, be it showing off drones or inside trains, these are all stage stuff. And I think we're giving too much importance to him. I think we should just ignore him, because even the media, that is why Indian Express keeps writing, because nobody reads Indian Express. So at least they should tell the people that they're still alive and kicking. So they kind of get letters from huge articles from Sonia Gandhi. For all you know, the Indian Express editors themselves would have written these articles.
That's it. Yeah. So today, after multiple delays, Axiom 4 carrying Shubhanshu Shukla along with three other crew members is going to, it's all set to launch. I'm sure it would have already launched. The mission will lift off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida in the famous SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. So, with this mission, Captain Shukla will become the second Indian to travel to space after Rakesh Sharma's 1984 mission. Now, this is something that our Prime Minister and all are looking forward to as another feather, on our cap.
Yeah, surely, because see, end of the day, okay, he's hitching a ride. For all you know, we did with Rakesh Sharma when he went in the Russian uh, a kind of Russian launch vehicle. End of the day, it's all about creating a competence for your team, saying that they have held it, they have done it, and definitely at the end of the day, they can do it something more than this. And that is what is going to happen. It is not that we are just going up there for a week and Shukla will come back and he'll learn everything that can be learned. No, this is a kind of an experiment to show that one Indian cosmonaut, of course, who is also an Air Force pilot, can actually go and did something that Rakesh Sharma did about say 40 years ago. But the more than that is our capacity of our Gaganyaan and other projects that we are building up. And that is what we have done. We have shown our competence by landing on the moon, and now we are creating vehicles that can take our space explorers to the nether world. And that is what it is all about. It's a good moment, but typically we will have Pawan Khera and Jairam Ramesh tweeting saying, "What's so big about it? लिफ्ट ले लिया ना, एक गाड़ी जा रहा था उसमें लिफ्ट ले लिया, क्या वो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है." But they will not talk about the same thing with Rakesh Sharma did when Indira Gandhi asked him how is it out there. He said, "सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा." So when it comes to them, it will be a different thing. And just watch my words. I mean, this is exactly what will happen today. There'll be a lot of folks who will criticize, who will mock, saying, "Oh, क्या किया? कुछ नहीं किया मोदी ने." He just sent one guy, gave him a few days leave, and asked him to go and join the SpaceX and go up there and have a good time for 7 days and come back. What has India gathered out of it? What has India learned out of it? Plenty, plenty. But that is not be told to people, general janta. It's not required. That gyan needs to be kept with people who need to know it. And I think that is a good moment. It's the good photo op, and I'm sure that I think it's in an hour from now it will take off. And
Yeah, yeah.
as
In
we
fact,
speak.
Suresh, as you speak, it's very amusing. In fact, a person has done a bit of research on certain people who are, who come for protests. Okay. Now, these people have been coming over the years. The same ladies, okay. Same ladies, when they're asked what is their job, they say we don't work. But they are seen at every protest, against whatever is happening, and the same people are seen. So, which means, just like you and I, we get a salary for working or something. They are getting a salary just for protesting, and they're so stupid. Like they wear goggles and they think that they have been, camouflaged. They take off their goggles, they look the same. So one person has taken the trouble of showing them through the years protesting. Exactly as what you said with regards to the Congress people, they had the same, script ready whenever some India achieves some milestone.
Yeah, Jantar Mantar is the favorite place for all these people, isn't it? And in Hyderabad, we have a Dharna Chowk near the Indira Park.
Yeah.
And you get audience. You say I want 100 people. There are organizers who will get 100 people. They'll put the tent for you, they'll put the stage for you, they will print the banners for you, they'll do everything. It's like event management basically. And these people, be it the farmers protest or Shaheen Bagh or Jamia Millia or the Delhi riots, they are there everywhere. These are Andolan GVs, as we call them. If you ask, say, for example, Yogendra Yadav, what does he do for a living? He doesn't. I mean, these people get paid. I mean, look at Tista Setalwad. Look at people like that. They make millions. I mean, you and Jaydev and me and all, we struggle. We work hard for it. They don't have to. They drink whiskeys and caviar with the money collected for the Gulberg victims, and we all know what they did. And same thing. Look at. I mean, I'm not saying Medha Patkar is one among them. Maybe she dresses up in a way that makes her look very, very power kind,
Convincing.
as we call
Yeah.
in Tamil. But the question is, these are protesters whom we again, the media takes them very seriously. They go there with the cameras. See, the media needs breaking news every day to survive. They need a breaking news. I mean, they create it. There's no news, they create news. And these are the Andolan
That
GVs whom
Trump
you'll
is,
find.
Trump is walking down the airport.
Yes, Jantar Mantar, they will go. Aam Aadmi Party holding protest in BJP office, they'll be there. Congress holding protest in front of election commission, they'll be there. Everywhere they're there. I mean, after all, Aam Aadmi Party's supremo, Arvind Kejriwal, has got a patent for it.
Yeah.
Because he has done protest like crazy. I mean, he slept outside a building in Delhi. He said, I will not take a vehicle, I will only drive my Wagoner. We know all these characters very well. The problem with media is, I tell you that the same thing happens in Hyderabad at Dharna Chowk, as I said. There is one set of cameramen from every major news channel who are stationed there every day. When you ask them, what are you doing today? They say, we have no idea. There'll be some protest, so we have to cover it. It is like, party beat, as they call BJP
Yeah.
beat,
Yeah.
Congress beat. You have to cover them. And there is also this Dharna Chowk beat. So I'm sure that Jantar Mantar has something very similar. They
Yeah.
will have good khana in the afternoon. Another day also we saw during the protest, during the what do you call hunger strike, everybody disappeared during lunch. They were back at 2:30, and evening again. I believe chai was served right behind the curtains. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think becoming a
It's
joke,
all a joke. Yes. Yes.
more than a joke.
Jaidev, yeah. So
Yeah,
Jaidev, last piece of news. Yeah.
yeah. So Pakistan has backstabbed Iran because Asim Munir gave all the locations of the top commanders of Iran. So, what kind of game is Pakistan playing with America? What was the lunch about? You
There's nothing called a free lunch. Remember? Nothing called a free lunch, and that's why Asim Munir went there, because he was clearly told that, look, I mean, we have just contained Iran. Somehow, Israel is like now wanting to go after you because you are the only other Islamic nation which has a bomb now. And if you don't behave, you know what the Israelis will do to you. I mean, the Israelis had planned it in the 80s. We all know that, which Indian government did not agree to it. Otherwise, Pakistan wouldn't be having the bomb now. But the problem is, Pakistan backstabbing is nothing new, because they've done it with Afghans. We know what they did in Afghanistan. First, they were there, they got all the money to send the Soviets out, they created a militia, they created everything. Then Al Qaeda came in, then ISIS came in, then they all got driven out. Now, finally, Pakistan also got driven out of Afghanistan. And now they keep the Taliban doesn't accept the Duran line. They said, who drew the line? We don't know who drew that line. We don't accept that line. Now, Pakistan backstabbing Iran is nothing surprising, because it's a Shia Sunni conflict, end of the day. I mean, Iran is the only Shia nation in that side of the town. And they naturally are a very small community if you look at the entire Islamic community. And they have a problem with Saudi Arabia. We all know that. Big problem with Saudi Arabia, more than any other nation in the Islamic world. Saudis themselves are kind of modernizing big time with MBS going after making Saudi look like Europe by 2035 or whatever its target is. But the point is very simple: is see these aircrafts, the B2s, and even the 70 odd aircraft that accompanied them. They will have emergency airfields to land. Remember that aircraft F-35B, which is still parked in Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram airport? No, something like that. They have emergency airfield, because one of the aircraft will have an issue, one or two of them minimum. They will need to kind of land somewhere. I mean, I'm not talking of getting a hit from the Iranian anti-aircraft battery, but some other. So they will have emergency airfields marked out. And Thiruvananthapuram was one such airport for the Prince of Wales aircraft carrier. So, but the Pakistanis were called to tell them this: look, we are going to hit Iran. and our aircraft may stray into your territory. And definitely, if they stray into your territory, we will need your help. Don't open up your anti-aircraft batteries and all against American aircraft. You know what they will do to you. Already, the Indians have finished you off totally. And now, if you try and do this circus, it will this what that is what the lunch was all about. To tell that there is a plan like this, it is not rocket science. Everybody knew that Pakistan would tag along with the US. You have no choice, basically. I mean, they are a nation which is bankrupt. Every billion they get from IMF or the World Bank is passed by America. Everybody knows it. Every kid knows it. And naturally, they would backstab Iran because they know that the Iranian regime is a spent force. They're the only capacity which Iran has today. Forget the nuclear part of it. They make excellent missiles. They are missiles of various kinds. I mean, you might criticize them for anything, but they develop that technology. Where did they get it from? North Korea, Russia, or China? We don't know, but they got it, and they've improvised on it, from basic 100 kilometers to 200 kilometers missiles to something like subsonic and even supersonic missiles. They've developed it, so they've done it. The Pakistan, remember, Pakistan and Iran also had a small skirmish about a few months ago. And naturally, Pakistan doesn't trust Iranian regime because they are scared that tomorrow, if they get a nuclear bomb, then Pakistan's importance in the Islamic world goes down drastically. Because then one another nation which has Islamic bomb. So Pakistan not the only one which has an Islamic bomb. And that is where the main scared factor is. And Pakistan doesn't have oil. Iran has it in plenty. Iran has no shortage of money. And that is what Pakistan doesn't have. And naturally, backstabbing Iran is nothing new. Pakistan has done it numerous times with their allies. And the best part is the way they dealt with Taliban before. They were like bum chums. They used to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. And now they're at each other's throat. And that is what the Taliban says. You used us when you wanted to. Now you've thrown us the wolves. Where will we go? We want something. And if India is willing to give rice and wheat to us, we will take it by all means. That is what it is all about. India's only worry with Iran right now is the port, the Chabahar port. That is one worry. What will happen post all this? Will US agree India to invest money there? But where Trump is siding, he's more with Iran than with Israel right now. And for all you know, there would have been a deal stuck with Iran about oil or whatever it is. And America would kind of get an upper hand even in any precious metals that are there in Iran. They can lay their hands on. On the outer part of it, you will see debt to America by Khamenei and others, but in the inner part of it, they're all working together.
Thank you so much, Sureshi. Always,
Thank
special talking to you. And good
thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Jai Hind and
Jai
Jai
Hind.
Shri Ram.
Jai
Yes,
Shri
sure.
Ram.